Hey, welcome to the channel. We hope that you enjoy today's stories and check out the chapters on the video to see all the stories for today. But before we get into this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to get notified when we release a new video. So let's get into the video. What's the weirdest state someone's been in while answering the door?
Experience 1. I once delivered pizza to a rager. Not a stack of pizzas to a normal party, a single pizza to a huge riot of a party. Like, cars parked on the lawn, guys throwing up off the balcony, people fighting in the living room, hundreds of beer cans all over the place, all of it. I go in and ask for Amy, the person who ordered it, and everyone is pointing me in different directions. Eventually, I find this girl doing 3 feet bong rips on the back porch. She looks at me and says,
"Oh crap, my pizza!"
Then hands me a crumpled up $100 bill and tells me to keep the change. As I'm getting in my car, a guy runs up and asks me to do a beer run. I say I have to get back, and he speaks.
Okay, what if I pay you?
Then he gives me like $20 for running him down the street to the gas station. Experience 2. A very attractive married woman would call our service when her husband was out of town. The regular driver would show up for a booty call. One day I was covering his route and she showed up at the door fresh out of the shower with a house coat she carried instead of wearing. Surprised to see me instead of the other guy, she exclaimed.
Sorry, no pickup today.
Experience 3. I was breastfeeding my baby, heard a knock at the door. Put my boobs away. Answered the door. Afterwards, I looked down, realized one boob is still out. I had to hand it to the guy, he didn't look down once. Experience 4. I am not a postal worker, but I did used to be a public defender. I once had a client who got into the habit of always greeting his postal worker and the UPS and FedEx delivery drivers, completely naked and with a fully erect midsection. That is also why he was my client. I had him plea out. Experience 5. When I was 13, I was sent to the neighbors to get my brother and tell him to come home. The guy opened the door, naked, glitter coming out of his pubes. He had a towel covering his goods. I asked him if my brother was there and thankfully, he said no. Experience 6. I worked for a laundry delivery service and had a pretty regular route, so I saw a lot of the same customers pretty often. One guy would regularly answer the door in his old, saggy underwear. I never reacted until I asked some coworkers if they'd ever experienced that with him. Our service sent text messages to the client with the driver's name, so you could pretty much guess if they were going to be male or female. 100% of the men said no, 100% of the women said yes. The next time I delivered to him, I looked at his crotch, then back into his face and did a hard eye roll while talking just audibly. Never did it to me again. Experience 7. My husband was a mailman for years before we met and has some stories. My personal favorite is the guy who'd meet him at the top of the stairs in a bathrobe. Husband then could see his balls. He'd then offer my husband a bottle of water and ask him if he wanted to come in for a massage. Unsurprisingly, he declined the dude's offer every time. Experience 8. In a previous life, I delivered pizzas part-time and once delivered to an apt. I rang, got buzzed in, arrived at the door, and knocked. I heard doors open and some rather rhythmic squeaking. So, I nervously open the door, step into the hallway, turn the corner, and there on the sofa some guy is making it hard to assume his girlfriend. He doesn't even look up or break the rhythm, she just looks over his shoulder and says,
Money is on the table, thanks.
I take the money, and as I'm leaving, I hear,
Pizza's here, hurry up, I'm starving.
I managed to hold it together until I got in the elevator, then nearly pissed myself laughing once the doors closed. Experience 9. Not a postman, but I had a furry, dressed up as a wolf/husky, I don't know what it was, answer the door as my initiation job when I was a carpet technician. I had to steam clean the carpets in their furry fandom room. My coworkers were laughing their ass off when I came back to the office. Experience 10. Did door-to-door sales for about a week when I was young and broke. Had an attractive woman answer the door wearing nothing but a very tiny bikini bottom. I thought I was about to get lucky, but it turned out her husband dared her to do it. They thought I was selling Jesus and wanted to screw with me. Still, I got an eye full of the nicest boobs I'd seen to that point in my life. Experience 11. I delivered pizzas for a while in my younger days. I've definitely seen some odd things, but one instance has always stuck with me. I was in one of the mid-tier trailer parks in town. About 2 a.m. I knocked on the door, and soon enough it was opened to reveal 10 dudes crammed into this tiny trailer, all in nothing but their underwear, in the midst of a heated Nerf gun war. They paused, one guy blasted me with his Nerf gun, and all the rest went "not cool man," and unloaded on the guy. They ended up leaving me with a hefty tip and a nug. Overall, not bad, but definitely surreal. Experience 12. FedEx driver. Didn't happen at the front because the customer asked me to bring all her packages to the back door whenever she ordered something, which was fine with me. I go back there one day to drop off her packages on the back deck and she's full naked trying to tan. Was definitely awkward. Experience 13. About 11 years ago, I went to pick a girl up for a date. This date had been a suggestion by a mutual friend of ours. Walking up to the door, I noticed the main door was open with only the glass storm door closed. I rang the doorbell, having full view all the way to the back of the house into the living room. Her brother, who was maybe 7 at the time, comes running down the hallway naked as the day he was born. Then immediately after comes Dad, also naked. Then I heard a female voice from upstairs and a head poke out over a balcony. It was the girl's mom. Now I can't fully confirm this, but her shoulders and what I could see of her chest were also naked. Then my date comes down the stairs dressed. This was my first, and so far, only interaction with a nudist family. A warning would have been nice. Experience 14. I'm not a postal worker as well, but I used to be a door knocker. Y'all know that annoying freak trying to get you to donate when you're having a really crappy day. Anyway, I was doing my normal thing when I go up to one house, pretty average house, not big, not small, nice neighborhood and nice car out the front. Usually the nice neighborhoods are a bit more respectful when we come around. They don't just say piss off really rude, mainly because they have a lot less to worry about on a daily basis. Anyway, I get to the door and knock, and I can see someone on the couch. He yells, "What's up?" I say the whole pitch, but whilst doing so I can see some faint movement in this guy's silhouette. Then he lets out a huge grunt, gets up, comes to the door, opens it, and is butt-ass naked with a tissue stuck to his leg. Then proceeded to say,
Sorry, just had to finish up. What are you selling?
Still with his bloody schmeat dangling there. Experience 15. Not a postman, but have a similar story. I am a firefighter, and one night we got dispatched for an alarm activation called in by an outside alarm company. It was a late night call, probably 1 or 2 a.m. Upon arrival, nobody was outside of the listed address, but I noticed a few lights on in the windows, so after double checking the address, we knocked on the door. The door was opened by a guy wearing nothing but boxers and a female wearing a towel behind him. We spoke to the 2 residents, and they said they didn't have any alarms go off, but offered to let us in to check out their system. So, I, being the young fireman went inside following the male. That is when I noticed a tail coming out of his boxers and very quickly realized he wasn't waddling because of an injury. Experience 16. UPS driver here. I delivered to a housing complex for the mentally unstable, and I got chased with a knife the instant the door opened. The staff said she's not allowed anything pointy, and they're very sorry. The spot had the worst state funding imaginable, and everyone was in shambles and felt bad, but damn, make sure they get their meds, please.
Do you like listening to these stories? Do you want to hear more of them? Then click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. And check the description for links to more videos and interesting stories.
Experience 17. Freaking hell, I'm probably too late for this, but let me tell you an insane story. I moved into a shared house with 2 other people when I was 21. Living the dream, lots of parties, and pretty soon after moving in I became smash buddies with one housemate. Very laid back and a little weird, she literally used to tell me how her Tinder dates had gone whilst cleaning my jizz off her face. I promise this isn't some horny story though. It's just an important bit of context. One day I'd made some cash doing a gig, Close-Up Magic, and called her up asking if she fancied a few celebratory drinks and a movie evening. It was pretty early 'cause it was a lunchtime gig for the Jubilee in England. She was all for it, so that's what we did. Of course, we didn't get fully dressed afterwards, so I'm naked and she's put on a t-shirt and pair of my boxers, and we are an hour into Memento and 20 minutes post-shag when the door goes. Freaking policeman was there when she answered the door.
Is Steve in, another housemate?
They asked.
No.
She says. Steve was out a couple of days, hence me being naked on a sofa. I start looking for clothes, but there are none in the lounge and I'd have to walk past the front door to get to the bedroom. Police hear me rustling, assume I'm Steve, and bust into the flat. I get arrested on the spot and handcuffed naked. My housemate gets my license to prove it's not me and I'm let go. So, they left, and it was so surreal we both just started laughing. The police were so embarrassed by the end of it that we were all kind of laughing together after all the apologies. We all saw the ludicrousness of the situation. So of course, when the door knocked again a few minutes later, I assumed it was the police again, and they'd forgotten something. So, I answered Bollock naked as the day I was born and said, "Are you here, pin me down again?" to the Amazon delivery guy. P.S. Turns out Steve was trying to meet up with underage girls, hence the search warrant. Experience 18. Delivered mail for many years and met all kinds of people at the door in varied life situations, but there's one I will never forget. I had a certified letter for an address, which requires a signature from the recipient, so I knocked on the door. Immediately accosted with deep, loud barking, so I took a couple of steps back from the door. A few seconds later, a little kid opens the door, and a massive Rottweiler is suddenly scream barking at me from inches away. I'm very calmly standing my ground and softly telling the dog what a good guard dog he is. I could tell stories about all the dogs I made friends with over the years when I hear a woman's voice asking what I need. I look up to see literally the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life, before or since, wearing nothing but a small bra and panties. I'm proud to say that I was able to pick up my jaw off the ground after a few moments and explain why I was there, while the rock continued to verbally accost me a few inches from my crotch. She then turned around, I swear it was in slow motion, but maybe that was just me, and yelled for her boyfriend. Suddenly everything was at normal speed, to come and get his dumb dog. I managed to maintain eye contact while she signed the pink slip. She gave me a smile I'll never forget and closed the door while I stood there reevaluating my life choices. It's been about 20 years since that happened, and I can still see her in my mind's eye. You probably don't want to know my other story about the 80-plus-year-old man. Experience 19. Not a postman/courier, but the one answering the doors in college. I slept over at my boyfriend at the time's apartment. He went to class in the morning, and I stayed and slept in. His roommate wasn't supposed to be back until 1. I showered at like 11 and walked out naked to go back to the bedroom and get clothes. Heard a knock on the door and thought it was his roommate back early, and I yelled,
Don't come in unless you want to see my boobs.
Yeah, it wasn't the roommate, it was maintenance. An old man's voice replied very awkwardly.
No, thank you. I'll come back another time.
Experience 20. True story. My first job was working at a pizza chain called Pizza Inn in '97. I started as a dishwasher and phone orders. After a year or so, when I got my first car, I gave delivery a shot. I'm probably only about 10 deliveries in and I get a call for a delivery to an apartment complex. I go up a flight of stairs and there's very loud music coming from the apartment I'm delivering to. I hear screaming and whooping and so on. I knock on the door. Nothing. Knock again. The music stops. The door opens and there is a guy in a pink leotard and tutu. And a naked chick with a video camera. They say come in and let them get money, and I step inside. I learned this was a mistake later because you can get robbed. There was practically no furniture, save for a table, some folding chairs, 2 more naked people, a girl covered in paint and a guy with devil horns, doing coke on said table, and a mattress in the middle of the room. On the mattress, a rather large naked hairy fellow in clown makeup completed with a red nose and rainbow wig, and he is smashing my buddy's older sister from behind. Then Mr. Pink Tutu asks me,
You want to make a movie? Do some blow and smash some chicks?
I did a couple of lines, then got the hell out and they tipped me $50.
We hope you enjoyed listening to today's stories. If you want to see more stories, check out these videos or check the links in the description for more videos. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And ring that notification bell.